Welcome. I want to thank everybody for joining us here this morning. I'm Bethany Sullivan, and the topic of our town hall meeting is strategic technology. And to help us with this, I have an esteemed panel of 2 distributors and 2 contractors who are going to share their thoughts about technology, how they use it, etc., for about 5 to 8 minutes each. And then we're going to open up for questions from the audience. So we'll just get going. We'll start with Justin Emanuel from Wesco Distribution. He's a BSEE from Penn State, has his MBA from the University of Pittsburgh. He's been with Wesco since 1999. Done a lot of work in automation and controls, and now he's in alternative energy. And does that include solar?
Yes.
Solar, okay. Next, we have Andrew Essig from City Electric Supply. He went to St. Michael's University in Burlington, Vermont, has a bachelor's degree in business with a concentration on computer science. Okay. He also graduated from Granger's Industrial Supply Management Development Program. He's been with City Electric since 2006. And while he's been there, he's done a lot of interesting things like wireless barcoding in the warehouse, pricing matrices, and a customer scorecard he's going to talk about. Then from our contractors, we have Michael Vandergriff. He's the owner and president of Control Solutions down here in Florida. He's been in the industrial control business for 30 years, a graduate of the Merit Shop apprentice program, certified electrical contractor, and he has been an active member of the independent electrical contractors for many years. He's a board member currently, but in the past he's been treasurer, vice president, and even president. So we went right to the top of the contractors here. And then we have Greg Wooten Jr. He's a product manager at Merit Electric Company, 3rd generation in his company. He's also the youngest employee of the company by 20 years. He is an aspiring owner, he says. So I don't know if, Michael, you want to tell his dad that. You know, not because.
Oh, he knows.
He went to Florida State University and studied business, but after he got out of school, he became a journeyman electrician, and in 2009 became a certified electrical contractor. So this was our panelists, and now I'm going to turn it over to them. We'll start with Justin, and just let them tell us about technology. So Justin?
Thank you very much for that nice introduction. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. This is my first panel. Can everybody hear me okay with the mic is good? So I'm going to keep my introduction pretty brief because I'm going to save time for my friend Andrew here, who, from what I understand, is a somewhat of a talker. So we're going to... And he has a lot of friends here, too, so from what I understand. So I've been at Wesco 13 years, and the technology change that we've seen just in my time at Wesco has been phenomenal. All for the better, I think. And you know, it impacts us from our recruiting through retirement of our employee base. Probably the biggest impact we see is on the marketing side of our business. With all of the social media tools that are available, from our trade show, from our online catalogs, for video training seminars, that's probably where we see the biggest impact of our business. The question that we've always had is, how do you measure the success of social media and you know what it's bringing to your bottom line, essentially? And we could probably talk about this a little bit more later in the panel, but I guess the way we feel is it's almost, you know, the lost opportunity you're not going to see by not participating in it. Our customer base is very diverse, and in general getting younger, and we're trying to diversify our business in that same way from a marketing standpoint, so that we can communicate better to our customer base using all of the same tools that they're using. So it's extremely important to our business to be able to do those types of things. So personally, my some of my favorite technology tools are probably, being that I'm in renewables for Wesco, and if you see the news, you know that something every day is changing in renewables, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. But that constant news feed, so I use a lot of Twitter, and receive all of my news feeds from various sources that I've signed up on with Twitter. So if you're not on there, probably everybody's on Twitter by now, but it's extremely helpful for me to stay on top of all the current issues using that tool. But even our travel functions with Concur, we all have BlackBerries at Wesco, so we can manage all of our flights and car rentals, hotel reservations, all of that kind of stuff directly from our phones at this point. We use Skype pretty heavily. We're all on Salesforce. We can use Chatter. LinkedIn is huge for us, keeping track of where everybody's moving in the industry. Andrew and I were just talking, you never really leave the electrical industry, you just kind of move around. So it's LinkedIn is a great tool to be able to find where everybody is, currently. So, that's really the main impacts that we've seen with technology in our company. I think that's about it. I'll pass it off to Andrew.
All right. I won't keep it brief, I guess. There's always a lot of questions. Obviously, it's a very broad topic with technology, how it relates to business and how you can use it and drive results. Everything from, do you get your salesmen iPads? Do you, what is this cloud all about? I mean, there's always these things, and for the sake of about 8 minutes, where I'd need about 8 hours, I have basically 3 tips that I believe can really help as you look of how you're going to choose and adapt technology into your business for what it's worth. The first, and I think it's overlooked a lot, is simply to ask. And I think we do a lot of assuming. I think we see what another distributor, another contractor, what the guy in a plane next to you had, and it may, look cool or sounds like a great idea. And we start going down that road and investing time, money. A lot of it is free. But I think that we don't do enough asking of our own employees, of our vendor reps, depending on where you sit in the mix, and most importantly, our customers. And in our case, we're a distributor. And just to share a story about, 6 months ago, going on a year, we created a customer advisory council. And we took a sampling of our top customers, kind of ranging from different sizes, sat them down for a day, and asked a whole boatload of questions all day long. And a lot of it was really geared to technology. And what we found out was we were way off. We were kind of shocked of what we were just convinced we knew what they were going to talk about and what they'd want from technology, from us, what they're using, and we just weren't right. So I think it's really, really important to continue down, and if you haven't done it, I don't think it needs to be that formal, but you certainly need to figure out what your company, what your customers need, because all this stuff is great and it's neat technologies, but if you can't apply it and it doesn't drive any results, then you could just be going down the wrong path. The second is to be careful, and if you can imagine for a sec, a customer comes in, they have a very bad experience, whatever that is, and they're very upset, and they pick up the phone and they call every single one of your customers, every other one, and start complaining about their experience. You'd be pretty horrified and pretty upset. And I'm going to pick on social media for a second, but I think it's important to see some of the cautions is with social media, you open that gateway. You handed the phone to your customer. And you're allowing them, as convenient as it is, to hand that out and to get out marketing stuff and everything and reach your customers in seconds. They can do the same. Certainly, that's not not to use social media, but to understand what's going on. And I think one of the best ways to do that is to get involved yourself. And one of the funny things, how many people here have their own personal Facebook page? So the majority. When Facebook first came out, I absolutely fought against it. I don't know why. I just didn't want to do it. If I hadn't seen somebody in 10 years, I figured there was a reason, and I didn't want to go down that road. And then my wife started doing it, my brothers, my coworkers, my friends, even my mom, she got a page before me. So then what really turned a page for me was City Electric. We decided we were going to start going down that road. And I figured if I was ever going to play a part, if I was ever going to have any experienced in this and I didn't know it myself, then how can I make any decisions that are impactful? So I think one of the best ways to understand some of these technologies and to know where some of the cautionary points are is to get involved yourself and make sure you're doing it. It doesn't take a lot of time. You don't need to be a power user, if you will, but I think that helps safeguard. I think you can understand the stakes are a lot lower when it's your personal life as opposed to business. The last piece that I have is the 80-20 rule. And I think entirely all too often we overlook the technologies we currently have, the ones we'd almost consider outdated. And I would ask if you went around and said, how many people know every button on a calculator, that know every function of the phone system that you have, that know every formula that can be written into Excel and extrapolate data that you've never even been able to get? And my guess is none of us. And I think we're sitting on a lot of stuff that we've spent a whole lot of money throughout our companies and technologies that still can add a tremendous value. And why I call it the 80-20 rule is you certainly need to be out there and you need to be seeing what's next, what's coming, what your customers want, what your employees need. But I think it's also a kind of that cautionary tale to don't overlook what you already have, because there's some tremendous stuff. And one of the pieces we did, we talked about a pricing matrix, and we were very shocked to know that Microsoft Excel could redo an entire pricing platform for our company. And it was time consuming. It took me, and I thought I was a great user of Excel, and it took me probably 2 months to learn everything I needed to learn and get deeper. But we were able to accomplish a project that seemed just impossible, or we'd need to go higher and spend a very large price tag for someone else or some other company to do it. So again, I think we're sitting on a lot of the technologies that can be helpful. So my 3 pieces, again, are, ask, making sure you know what's going to drive results that are going to matter. Be careful, get involved yourself so you know what some of the pitfalls are, and then just don't overlook what you already have. Thank you.
Now we're going to hear from the customer side.
And like Justin, this is the first time that I've served on a panel. I've been in the electrical industry for almost 36 years now. The last 33 concentrated on automation and control systems integration. I'm probably the oldest panelist up here also, so I have seen a lot of technology change in the last 36 years. I remember when we got our first fax machine and we thought it was the greatest thing in the world, and today the fax machine is becoming an obsolete item like the typewriter. So I look at technology from 2 aspects. One is how we can communicate with suppliers and distributors. And from that aspect, we're looking at online order entry, order tracking, data entry, invoicing, things like that. But that's only one aspect of it for us as a contractor, because the other side of it, because we specialize in automation, we're looking at how technology is emerging in the automation industry. Whereas for years we've been able to give customer access remotely to their PLC systems and their systems integration. Now we're looking at technology that's going to be able to effectively give them that information on a mobile application. And so that's some of the technologies that we're interested in. And Andrew, mentioned social media and the negative effects and the positive effects that it can have. And I was in a discussion yesterday with an individual who said whether you have a face page or a Twitter account doesn't matter, because your customers are talking about you regardless of whether you're interacting in that aspect or not. So it's something we can't avoid, even though we may try. So that's kind of my projections.
All right, thank you. Like Mike from the contractor side, it's very important for us, I guess, with technology. Being the, 20-year younger in my office, I came in very ambitious and thought I could take every process we do and automate it and make everybody's lives easier, save a ton of money, and everybody be happier for it. And I learned real quick that, especially with suppliers, when you try to automate everything, you lose a lot of benefit of personal interaction. And I think one of our biggest focuses right now is I'm in the middle of completely redesigning our purchasing department, and it's trying to get that balance of what do I email, what do I call for, can I get online and order it real quick? And if so, how do I know it's going to get there on time? How do I know when it's there? How do I get that information to my foreman, my project managers? So there's a lot of interaction, and I've learned real quick you can't automate it. You have to keep the balance of calling somebody if you need to, or emailing somebody if you need to, and getting that information back. In terms of implementing that in our business, I've come across some of the toughest resistance that you could probably think of in terms of taking somebody who has faxed a form to a supplier for 15 years and now trying to get them to email it. It's difficult, and training is probably one of the biggest things that I focus on when it comes into these new technological processes. And as suppliers integrate with it, I guess what I look for is with their web pages, with processes that they come out with that are new in terms of getting us submittals, quoting, tracking, is to let us know what you guys are capable of and help train some of the guys. I mean, these are people that have been doing something the same way for some 30 plus years. So to get a little feedback from you guys and to come into our office via phone, whatever, and be like, calm down, we can do this. It's as easy as this, step-by-step kind of layout of what needs to be done. But I guess in closing, the biggest thing is keeping that relationship, keeping a personal relationship, and not just focusing on technology and turning all to that. So.